It's been on Android phones since Android Oreo.
This is a feature that's been in Android for years, but
I loved Always On Display on my Galaxy phones.
Android has had widgets from the very beginning.
Other phones have this too, and it's a winner.
Does Apple do it better than Google? It sure does.
So let's swipe over to Today View and take a look at our new widgets. They're just beautiful. And the new designs are more data-rich than ever. And you can see they now come in a variety of sizes, so you can pick just the right level of information for each one. Now, we like these new widgets so much, we wanted to make them even more accessible. So check this out. I'm just going to tap and hold on the weather widget, and I can drag it out of Today View and onto my home screen. And watch, as I move it around, the apps just dance out of the way to make space for my new widget.
Android has had widgets from the very beginning in 2008. However, they aren't exactly standardized. However, Apple's new version of widgets in iOS 14 is standardized. There are a limited selection of shapes that would fit in nicely with the familiar home screen of old.
this is a feature that's been in Android for years, but in a neat Apple twist, there is a thing called Smart Stacks that stacks up a bunch of widgets based off apps that you use frequently and even according to what time of day you're using those apps. And if you want to go through them, you just simply swipe across that stack to bring a different widget to the top.
We're also bringing picture-in-picture to iPhone, so you can access apps on your iPhone while watching video or talking on a FaceTime call. Let me show you. So here on my home screen, the Smart Stack is showing me the TV widget, so I can just tap to start playing a show. Now check this out. When I swipe to go home, the video automatically goes into picture-in-picture right over the home screen.
It's been on Android phones since Android Oreo, which is from the ancient days of 2017. Now, iOS did have picture-in-picture in iOS 9, but that feature was iPad only. iPhones will get it with iOS 14.
This will allow you to watch video while being able to interact with everything else on your phone. The feature even works when you're on a phone call or FaceTime call. That said, I don't know if it's going to be like iPad OS where you're not going to be able to watch YouTube videos on your home screen. Maybe listen to the audio if you have YouTube Premium, but yeah, that's probably not going to be the reality.
So this is the perfect time to introduce Always On Display. It's easy to see the time and other important information without raising your iPhone or tapping the display.
I loved Always On Display on my Galaxy phones. It was so convenient just to be able to look down and see what time it is and what notifications you have without tapping the screen or anything. And it was really handy in class, and now it's really useful in meetings. If you want to know how much longer you have to sit there, you can just look down and no one will know. So I was really excited when the iPhone 14 Pro and Pro Max introduced the Always On Display on those devices.
Also, seeing my iPhone 14 Pro have its screen on when it's just sitting on a table took a little getting used to. I kept thinking, ooh, I forgot to lock my phone. And then to wake it up, you just tap on the screen or you unlock your phone.
At least the lock screen's Always On Display is easy to love. Other phones have this too, and it's a winner. I could immediately see when it was too early to call home and that I still had plenty of power left.
This keeps essential information available for the moments where all you need is just a glance. This is made possible by a number of new technologies that make the display incredibly power efficient. This display can operate at a refresh rate as low as 1 Hertz with a new low power mode. And we further improved our LTPO technology, allowing the display to intelligently dim the entire lock screen. We also take advantage of multiple coprocessors in our chip to refresh the display using minimal power. So the time, widgets, and live activities are always available. And we use our photographic expertise and powerful image segmentation to dim wallpaper photos while preserving skin tones, so they continue to look great. And you can keep an eye on your live activities without even touching your iPhone.
There's also a big improvement to video this year. It now has a new, even more advanced stabilization mode that gives users a powerful tool when capturing moments on the move. This is Action Mode.
The Note 8 is the first smartphone ever to have optical image stabilization in both cameras. Just look at the difference. And that's not all. It's not just photos that benefit from dual OIS, it's videos too.
The iPhone 14 lineup has a new video feature called Action Mode. This is a stabilization mode that promises smoother video by adjusting to significant shakes, motion, and vibrations when shooting actions.
It uses the full sensor with more overscan and advanced roll correction to make video look incredibly stable when you're in the middle of the action. Simply toggle it on for great-looking, smooth video without having to carry extra gear like a gimbal. It also supports Dolby Vision HDR.
Here's a look at action mode shot at 60 frames per second on the ultra-wide lens. There's a wide shot in the corner so you can get the full scope of my movements. As I'm running down the boulders, you can see just how shaky the camera is on my chest. The stabilization is doing a great job at minimizing the jerkiness. The iPhone captures a super smooth shot as I climb back up. Let's compare it side by side with action mode turned off. Here, you can easily see the difference in resolution. The rocks definitely have less texture on action mode. That aside, it's apparent, especially when I jump off the rocks, at just how much stabilization is going into play.
And some new tricks, because now, when you type, you can swipe.
Keyboard replacements for Android that with any luck will also come out to iPhone users this fall with iOS 8. Aside from having a nice spacing and a swipe to type option for one-finger typing, there are features here that Google is uniquely great at. SwiftKey does a lot of what Google Keyboard does, swipe typing, predictive text, custom dictionaries, but what makes SwiftKey unique is that the keyboard itself can be resized to match up nicely with those sausages you call fingers. Swipe was one of the first companies to come up with that whole one-fingered swiping texting method, and are arguably the best at it. If you really want to be speedy with one-finger typing, this is the one.
This is one of my all-time favorite features ever. When you're too lazy to type out individual letters, you can just swipe across the keyboard and your phone will figure out what you're trying to say most of the time. Apple didn't add this until iOS 13, but better late than never.
Just like that. It's really great.